How's it going, Hodlers? Today we're going to be talking about Mana or Decentraland, the Decentraland blockchain, and what is Decentraland exactly? How do NFTs come into play? Now, I don't have a lot of NFT plays in my portfolio, but Decentraland and Mana is one of, by far, the most bullish that I definitely have. So during this video, we're going to be talking about exactly what the Mana token is, how that's going to work in, and what the bullish prospects are of a VR system like Decentraland. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's first talk about the token, and then we'll start talking about the use case and what's going on right now with the project. But right now, Decentraland sits at around 73 cents USD. It currently has a circulating supply of 1.3 billion. Now, of course, it did have more, but Decentraland is a deflationary asset, and a lot was burnt in the initial buying of property. The market cap right now is just shy of $1 billion, so still relatively young market cap, still relatively small. It is ranked 87 in the crypto market, so it is top 100. And I'd probably say at this point it's one of the best NFT plays. Now, it does a lot of stuff with Ethereum, but it also works with Polygon Matic. So Matic actually helps the Decentraland gambling aspect, the casino specifically, I think with blackjack and a few other games, but they help within scaling within the system. So there's a lot of integration here with layer 2 on Ethereum, and that's capable by being an ERC20 token. So at this point, it is an ERC20 token. You can hold it in a number of different wallets, whether it be a Ledger, or you could even hold it in Celsius for a 2% interest. But of course, if you're planning to transact with the token and actually use it, then you'll probably want it in your MetaMask so you can actively use it within the world. Now, right now, we did see a little bit of a dip, obviously, with everything else. Now, Mana did hold on to a good amount of its value, considering how much of a run-up it did go through over the last couple of months of a fresh bull market. Obviously, we did see that dip, but we are seeing a good recovery at this point, and we could see a much higher price at this point. But it is dependent on how many people use the system. There are some criticism of the system being a web-based browser, but that being said, they are working at a desktop model, and I'm sure that's going to increase functionality down the road. But as of right now, there's not a lot of users using Decentraland. So I still think it needs to generate a lot of hype and a lot of notice for a lot more people to use it. But I do think that it will be something down the road that will pick up in Steam. Grayscale does have a Decentraland trust. They're holding roughly $13.1 million under asset. So we do have the industry investors coming in and buying up this token. So we have industry desire for this token, and you see a number of other different funds. So you do see that there's at least some buying pressure from institutions. Now, Decentraland has come out with a couple of different updates in the last little while. To go over some, just as a brief recap, one is the in-world builder. So this allows people to edit things within the world instead of on the website, which is commonly done. But at this point, I guess they can use the in-world builder. Now, I'm not too technically knowledge on the in-game aspect of it. Again, you guys know I'm a crypto guy. As much as I'm also a gamer, I haven't really played enough to really understand exactly all the controls and how everything works within the game. But I definitely get the premise. It's just like VR chat, if any of you know what VR chat is. But I'm sure with the builder in the game, this is going to enhance the user experience and allow people to create easily within the game. Now, they've also included quests, which I think is just an interesting thing, especially when you're talking about a VR online game that you have a lot of other people with. Quests and other immersive adventures might be beneficial for the ecosystem. So initiatives like this and events like this are obviously really great. Now, we've also seen a couple of other things happen within Decentraland. There have been events, there have been esports games. There's so much that actually goes on in the world, and usually there are events that you can watch and you can join in on. And also, to get into the world, you don't actually have to have any mana or anything. You just have to have a MetaMask. Another idea and use case is actually having a movie theater within Decentraland, which somebody's already built. But imagine, instead of going to the premiere of a movie, you would actually go within Decentraland to get that grand opening premiere and watch the movie firsthand. Now, I know this sounds a little weird and out of touch with reality, but think of the world that we're living in. We're in the midst of COVID. This has been a huge change in our lives, but I think it's really primed us to envision something like a VR setup to actually work in the real world. Think about business meetings. If hypothetically 2 companies that were in different time zones or across the world from each other needed to both get together in a boardroom and have a chat, at that point they could probably all just don VR headsets and talk within a world. Now, I'm not saying that that's Decentraland, but I am saying that the capability is there to do a lot of events. Now, when I eventually buy some land, and I will buy some land, I'll eventually have subscriber parties. I'll eventually have the open invitation for you guys to actually join in and have one-on-one conversations with me. That is really the power of this, but we'll see that a little bit more when we get into the system. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind with the marketplace, and of course this is a little out of spec with everything else, but you got to keep in mind that it's not only the mana token that's holding some sort of value, there's also land within Decentraland. Now, I'm not going to look at the NFT aspects or what you can do to augment your character. That's not what this is about. We're talking about straight investments and what we would actually invest in. If we're looking at NFT plays, it could be realistic that we are looking at something like a virtual real estate. So we have the mana token, which is great, and then we have Decentraland, where you can build a building within a parcel. So you have a couple of different sections here. The green boxes are Genesis plazas, where you would spawn into. They're owned by Decentraland. Anything that's blue is openly on sale. And the multiple blocks are called estates, while the single blocks are called parcels. So there's the two different types. Then you have big areas like this that are usually owned by one entity. This is a virtual shopping center and a few districts and whatnot, but we'll go into those a little bit later. Now, there's a few things that you want to keep in mind if you are looking at buying property within the virtual world, is you want to make sure that you're maybe by a road or you're by a major hub, because the further out that you get to, say, the boondocks, the cheaper it's going to be for that parcel. So you can see all the way out here, maybe this is around 4,700 mana, which can seem like a lot, but considering that is 4,700 mana, and then one near Genesis blocks is 299,000 mana, that's a dramatic difference, and it's all about location. So much like the real estate market, it is all about location, and location actually does matter. Now, there is a whole world to Decentraland. There's a lot of different aspects happening and a lot of different projects building different areas. And there's still much more to come and still much more open space for people to buy. So it's just interesting to see where this system will fledge out in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Now, to get on, it's really easy. You go to the main page, you hit start exploring, and then it starts connecting you through your MetaMask. You'll hit play, and we start entering into the world. This is all a browser-based game, so obviously there's it's not on like a desktop, like an app version. It's strictly through the browser, and I'm running it through my Brave browser right now just fine. All I had to do was hook up my MetaMask, and I was good to go. And at this point, you are spawned into a Genesis block where you can kind of direct where you're going to go. So you can choose different locations here. Now, obviously, I'm just going to... Now, I don't have any audio on for you guys, but just know that there is in-game audio that is currently playing. So there's a bunch of events here that are listed that you can see all these different events. So if I wanted to go to one, I could, for example, just go and then jump in. So if I do just jump in and hit jump in here, it gets ported to where that event is. So here you go. We've ported to our random museum that we wanted to go check out. So we are out basically in the middle of nowhere at this museum, just checking out this museum at an event. So you can see all these different pieces of NFT work, and then you can open it. You can see if it's for sale. You can view it on OpenSea, and then you can go ahead and buy it from OpenSea. So anyone that is into NFTs, they can integrate that and build a building in Decentraland and show off their NFTs within Decentraland. So here we go. I teleported to the new Wonder Zone that just came out for Decentraland, and I ported here just so you can see a couple of other people kind of hanging around. Now, obviously, like I said, that there isn't a huge population right now within the game. I do look at this as way more of a speculative play. You know, it does have potential of where it could be, especially if it is going to be this VR chat, but blockchain based, which is basically what it's trying to sell it as. But here you go. It's a brand new location. I believe this is a amusement park of some kind. Now, again, I'm not too knowledgeable about the in-game aspect of stuff, so forgive me about my lack of knowledge there. But at the end of the day, you can kind of understand the premise just by looking at this. So you guys get the idea. Now, I don't want to get too much into the game, and don't get hung up on that if you're not a video game person. But you all understand the hype that went around VR chat when it came around. Twitch streamers were streaming it, and it picked up a lot of steam because a lot of people were using it, streaming it, making good content on it. And just imagine in the future when content creators like me can actually make something within Decentraland and host parties and meetups and everything else virtually, so people that can't afford maybe plane tickets to go interact with their favorite influencer or their favorite streamer, they can just put on a VR headset, and then boom, they're in there with them. Now, there's also a lot of other things. We talked about the gambling aspect. You can go to the casino. There have actually been instances of people being hired to operate certain things. I do think that if anyone's ever seen the movie Ready Player One, they can actually speculate that we could potentially see a world where we do have an online world that people work in and are able to make a living. Imagine you're someone that can't leave the house that much and you want to go get new shoes. You go to a Nike store in Decentraland and you talk to a Nike employee right there ready to answer your questions. I'm not saying that this is what's happening right now. I'm saying this is potentially what could happen for a system like this. And we could see more and more VR implementations in our future, especially now that we've had this new post-pandemic world. Now, of course, this is a lot of speculation and take it with a grain of salt. I'm no financial advisor or anything like that. But I do think that at this point, we could see Decentraland definitely increase in its price and especially increase way above that its all-time high that we did see it at. Because we did see it roughly at around $1.66. I do think that honestly, we can easily see this token go to $3.50, maybe even a lot more by the end of the bull market. But again, you guys know me. I'm super cautious and conservative about the price targets that I do give. But I do think that even with the trend, we did go down with Bitcoin, but we've been on a continuous incline until this dip here. So there is a lot of power with Decentraland. It's backed by a good product. And I most likely think that out of my NFT plays, Decentraland is going to do the best. That's it for me, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and hopefully this gave you some new perspective on Decentraland and on Mana. If you did like it, go ahead and give me a like. Really helps support this channel. Subscribe for more crypto news and content. And of course, happy hodling.